Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this informational session around a new offering that the DC Sustainable Energy Utility is providing to District of Columbia businesses in order to help facilitate the auditing process. Next slide, please, Kaylin. A little bit about the DCSU for folks that don't know necessarily much about us at this point. The DC Sustainable Energy Utility is an entity that helps DC residents and businesses use less energy and save money. That is our kind of our foundation and principle. We've been established since 2011 in the district, and we've delivered financial incentives, the technical assistance needed, and provided information to tens of thousands of district residents and businesses over the years, in essence, to help them generate more than $1.4 billion of lifetime energy cost savings for the work that we've helped support. Our intention is really to work with folks like yourselves to build a brighter economic and environmental future for the District of Columbia. Next slide, please. The DC Sustainable Energy Utility, as part of a performance contract with the District Office of Energy and Environment, has several metrics that we adhere to and goals that we try as foundation and principles to help the District of Columbia. Everything from energy savings as measured in MMBTU, which means gas and electric savings, to reducing greenhouse gas emissions as measured in metric tons of CO2. But we also have other metrics that are core to the foundations of the DCSEU, and that's really around green job creation, supporting our local economic infrastructure within the district, with a focus around low income and low income spending as part of our mission and goal. We also focus a wee bit on renewables, coupled with energy and efficiency investments at larger sites, as an additional focus around the deep energy retrofits. That's going into specific commercial facilities, for instance, and really trying to do that deep dive of energy reduction with the customer. Next slide, please. As part of all those various metrics that I briefly touched on, we are launching something that's new to the DCSU, where we're supporting a rebate towards ASHRAE Level II audits, and this is going to be an overview of the incentive offer to the market, in addition to you all having the knowledge of being able to qualify as a participating contractor during this process. Next slide, please. Straight up, the audit incentive offer, we're offering up to $15,000 in incentives towards a qualifying ASHRAE Level II audit for buildings that are above 50,000 square feet in the District of Columbia that do not currently meet the building energy performance standards as they lie within the district under Cycle 1. This offer will be through September 30th of this fiscal year, or while our funding is available on a first come, first served basis for the customer. This is eligible for the owners and manager of the commercial and multifamily buildings, and part of accessing this incentive offer is really to work with a DCSEU participating auditor, and the auditor will be required to do the following. Analyze the building energy systems, including the envelope, lighting, HVAC, etc. Also to identify the cost and practicality for the measures that you're all going to recommend through the ASHRAE Level II process in order to help meet the building energy performance standards requirements of increasing the efficiency at the non-compliant buildings. As part of this process, we will work with you and your customer to determine eligibility for rebates for specific measures that you're all recommending, and to kind of develop a long-term capital plan with your customer to how we collectively are going to engage to help facilitate the needs of the efficiency increases within these buildings. We are planning on launching the customer-facing portion of this on February 27th. So just around the corner. Great way to end February and start the springtime anew next time. The incentive for buildings that do not meet BEPS currently, the ASHRAE Level II compliant audit with any local DC amendments and DC amendments specific to the nature of what's listed in the BEPS compliance handbook guidebook is where I'm going to reference that stuff and point you to further details as we go through this. The building must be at least 50,000 square feet in order to qualify for 5 cents per square foot up to a cap of financial subsidy of $15,000. There's also optional benchmarking data analysis that we can provide as part of a tech assist to ensure benchmarking data score is accurate. However, this is not designed to substitute third-party verification. It's just kind of a, we have a benchmarking program manager, and we're going to make time access to help you all work through anything that looks wonky in the process. We're also going to offer, custom preliminary incentive analysis. We'll take a look at your ASHRAE Level II audit as part of this process to kind of see, litmus test to what kind of rebates may be on the table as part of this discussion to engage on a long-term capital planning process. There is a limit of 2 audit incentives per property owner, management company, or authorized representative of those firms per fiscal year, unless you all reach out to the DCSEU specifically in writing to request additional properties to be considered. This is our first time offering this type of program, and we wanted to make sure that it's afforded to as many folks as possible. So if you are working with properties that may have multiple sites under that type of structure, please reach out to us and engage with our team to see what we can do. However, for folks that do meet the current BEPS, we're not going to ignore them either, because investment into the ASHRAE process and identifying capital improvements is a valued exercise. So folks that are meeting the 50,000 square foot and above that are currently compliant in the current cycle of BEPS can qualify for 2.5 cents per square foot up to $7,500. So part of your engagement process with your customer base, if they have a mix of BEPS and non-BEPS compliant buildings, certainly, it avails you the opportunity to promote your wares of services to the client accordingly. The same terms and conditions apply. There's this limit of 2 incentives per property owner or management company. There would be a combination if they have 1 BEPS and 1 non-BEPS, for instance. It would be aggregate of those 2. Any incremental above those, whether it's BEPS or non-BEPS, would need prior approval from the DCSEU. Next slide, please. Now, under the BEPS compliance audit incentive and pathway selection, any customer pursuing the BEPS prescriptive pathway will need to complete an audit that complies with the requirements outlined by the District Department of Energy and Environment. And the DCSU cannot guarantee the audits that it provides incentives for will meet these requirements. So please notify not only yourselves as auditors, but any customers that are planning on doing that. If they plan on pursuing the prescriptive pathway, that's something you all should identify up front before completing this process. Next slide, please. Now, how to become a DCSU participating auditor? Great question, and I'm sure a lot of you folks would like to know. The participating auditor requirements, any contractor providing the ASHRAE Level II audit service within the District of Columbia must meet one of the following certification and credentials: an MFBA from the BPI for multifamily property types, a CEM, a CEA, a BEAP from ASHRAE, or an HBDP from ASHRAE. If you don't see a specific certification that's listed, please reach out and provide the additional certifications that you feel that would qualify you to provide the ASHRAE Level II audit service as part of this process of becoming a participating auditor. And we would need to, as the DCSU, we would certainly consider those and get an approval from the client. Next slide, please. As part of the requirements, a participating auditor must have a certain level of insurances. And I'm going to pause real quickly and since there's commercial general liability, automobile liability, workers' comp, employer liability, crime, cyber, professional liability, sexual abuse and molestation, and umbrella and excess liability insurance. I'm going to pause so you can see those levels of insurance. For folks that want follow-up, I'll give you a chance to do a screenshot here, but as Kaylin mentioned earlier, the slide deck will be shared with you all a couple days from now for reference. I'm going to give you all about 10 seconds before we move on. Okay, great. Next slide, Kaylin. All right, Kaylin, I'm going to turn it over to you real quickly to talk about the great stuff that we can provide for marketing support and kind of give a little preview of the customer-facing interface.
Sorry, guys, I'm struggling to get back to the mute button. But yes, I just wanted to, I see more people are popping in, but yes, as you can see here, this is this on the left-hand side of your screen. This is a counter card that we do plan on like getting printed and going out to the public with very soon. But basically, we're going to have a website for this offer as well, but the DCSU will will market the audit program to commercial and multifamily building owners in the district through communication channels such as the website, social media, events, and some of our partnering organizations. And I know Therese is here as well so I'll be sending you some more stuff, Therese. But the DCSU will also provide. We have the ability to provide you guys with these materials if you would like, and we have an opportunity for co-branding. So just for instance, this counter card is co-brandable. So if you are interested in getting your logo placed next to ours, right on the front, that's as simple as reaching out. You can either reach out to Rick and send the high-res logos, or you can reach out to myself. I can put my email here just because I'll be the one probably plopping it in place, if whatever's easy for you. But I do want to call out, if you're not familiar with, logo files and things like that, I am looking for an EPS file. That is a vector file. It's the highest of high res. It won't, it will not pixelate upon printing. If you don't have that available, the highest of high resolution JPEG or PNG should do just fine. But if this is something that you're interested in, please do reach out and let us know. And we can provide, I would say, anywhere between 50 to 100. Don't quote me on that. We'll discuss it. But to you guys, or just the digital copy if you want the digital copy, or both. And on that note, I'm going to unshare and then share back the website just so that you can get, the website is not live at this time, so this is a test version of the website, but it's pretty much finalized and that's how it's going to look. So I'm thinking everybody can still see what's going on, but similar to how the offer is laid out in the slide section before is how we're thinking about presenting this to customers. This will be it'll be a very simple way to get here. Ignore that. It'll just be / energy audit or building energy audit. That'll be on the counter card, the actual correct version. The site will explain the different ASHRAE level audit types with upon opening, level 2, the incentivized audit level, will be open and a little descriptor about level 2, but all of them are clickable in accordion style fashion. The offer is laid out in a table, as well as the optional bid market analysis and custom preliminary incentive analysis, as well as some disclaimers about DCSEU is not a substitute for third-party verification as required by DOE. And then eligibility and next steps for the customer to just explain to re-explain if their building is eligible, what audits are eligible, and what they can expect from the steps of completing an entry form, talking to an account manager, choosing an auditor, and signing a participation agreement and the whole process, basically. And this will be the form that they will come in through. You can direct them to this website. This will probably be the best method to get through to us in an organized fashion. And if they want to work with you, I believe, yes. Then they just answer this question, yes. And they will bring that to the account manager when they're contacted. And then, of course, more information about folks who are interested, it'll just schedule a meeting. But this is where your information will be right all down at the bottom. So if you become a participating auditor, you'll have a little card here with your business information. And that's where customers, when they click on things like this, they'll fly down there to see who's available, so they can look at the different auditors and things like that. So that's basically the website in a nutshell. So I'm going to unshare and reshare.
And thank you, Kellen, for the overview. And really, the highlight for becoming a participating contractor is our outward ability and acknowledgement that when you all enroll as participating contractors, we'll be able to outwardly push your information to that list, so that to put the highlight in for folks to become a participating contractor. That's where the value is going to be. Certainly, if you are working with existing customers that are interested in this, by all means, have them go to that portal once that portal is turned on to enroll. This is a customer enrollment process, so you can assist folks if you're working with your existing base to come to that portal, but the customer must engage and enroll their properties accordingly. It's a customer agreement where the payment will be going to the end use customer. In that sense, if folks are coming to us as a value add as becoming a participating contractor, they will be afforded an opportunity to see from that drop-down menu a list of participating contractors that offer the ASHRAE Level II service, and they can pick and choose accordingly in that regard. So it's great for you all to work with your existing base to have have your customers enroll. In addition to, it might be a good opportunity for you all, for folks that don't have a relationship in the market, to get your name out there that you are a service provider that is enrolled with the DCSEU program. Next slide, Kaylin. I also want to put a brief mention in around training opportunities for your staff and for your firms with the DCSEU at this time as well. Next slide. We are ready. I was just informed we are ready to start getting solicitation in for our Train Green program for FY23, which is really a great effort to where we offer no cost trainings, credentialing, and certification courses for our local contracting base as well. So in order to qualify, we do have a preference, a tiered preference where we focus around district CBE or CBE eligible firms as a tier 1. We also focus our training efforts around district residents, but they may be working outside of the District of Columbia, and there's a third tier where if criteria 1 or 2 are not met, you as a third tier option. Really, the market for this Train Green effort is, as you can see on the right-hand side, architects, building management folks, contractors, service companies, distributors, manufacturers, district residents, etc. That's really kind of an encompassing thing. The training has specific pathways, and I would recommend that you go to that link there, dcsu.com/traingreen, to learn more about the types of courses and to get your registration codes and start that enrollment process. Did I miss anything, Kaylin, on this?
No, the only thing to call out specifically for these guys is that CEM certification will be a course this year. So that is a course. It may not be it'll take a very long time. It's about a 6-month, like I believe a 6-month or 4-month course, self-paced, but it is a course that is available. So if someone on your staff is interested in taking that, that is a part of the scope of this program.
Okay, next slide, please. Really, and also just an overall mention here that certainly I encourage you all to, if you have not already signed up for any training or contractor updates, please use that link. Once again, the dcsu.com contractor updates. As part of this process, I would highly recommend to folks that I have not regularly engaged with is to use that link there. That link will bring you and afford you an opportunity to schedule an official time right off my Outlook calendar without us swapping back and forth emails to set times up. It'll show you some available times that you can schedule on your end that works for you, and we can chat about not only the audit program in general, but we can also talk about other services that the DCSEU is either soliciting for or currently offers within the District of Columbia. Next slide, please. All right, I've done a lot of the chatting here, and I want to pause at this point to see if there's any open questions.
Yes, I see, and just so everybody's aware too, thank you, Rick, that you can voice your question as well. We're going to go through these chat questions because we do have quite a few, but if you do want to get in the queue and you don't feel like typing in the chat, you can always use the raise your hand function. And once we call on you, just come off mute and voice your question. So I'm going to start. I see a comment from Michelle M about the $15,000 back versus $15,000 discount. I see Ben's responding to you. We'll definitely take a look at it, and we do thank you for the feedback. All right. And this is from Teresa. I've received a question from our potential contractor. Is DCSEU seeking contractors only for level 2 audits or level 1 as well?
This participating contractor program is soliciting ASHRAE Level II, because ASHRAE Level II, in essence, is the standard in which if folks are going to be doing a certain level of investment into the project, Level 1 does go to a certain point as far as addressing, high level EEM needs, but level 2 kind of does that deeper dive to help inform capital, more intensive capital improvements. So at this time, it would be a level 2 participating contractor enrollment. It's not to discount level 1, but level 2 is this sweet spot in order to help move things forward for the deeper investments.
Great. Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Trace, for your question. Laura M has 2 questions.
Okay.
Does the audit need to occur between February 27th and September 30th of this year to qualify for the incentive, or could the audit have occurred during 2022 for buildings prepping for the April 1st BEPS deadline?
I will attempt to answer the question, and feel free to raise your hand if I don't completely address it. I'll start there. Where the intent of this audit program is when we do launch this and when the customer enrolls, this is a reservation-based enrollment for the customer. And what that means, to get into the detail a wee bit, is that the customer and yourselves will have 120 days to complete the ASHRAE level audit and provide the related documents and support at the back end for this process. So to answer your question, already completed audits that are done are really not geared to the intent of this program. It's really, if you're starting to the engagement or early stages of gathering the data per se, that would be fair to have your customer enroll and we can have that discussion. But already completed audits is really kind of off the table at the moment. This is our first offering, and the intent of this is to launch it. We're launching this, of course, we're acknowledging this is mid-cycle of our fiscal year. It's a learning experience for the DCSEU. Fully acknowledge that this stuff is happening, and kudos for folks that have already completed it to help inform. This audit program is also intended to run past the March 31st deadline. So although this may help support and inform long-term capital improvements that will directly be fed into the BEPS process, this is kind of in parallel to help support identifying the deeper energy retrofit needs of specific items. And this will run the course of this fiscal year. I will put the advocacy thing that, since we are doing this for the first time, I am a very strong advocate that these ASHRAE audits need to be actionable results, which means that they can't be shelf talkers, quite frankly. Folks can't be going through this just to hit, a checkbox on some need to say, yep, we've identified it, but nothing happens from it. So we will be monitoring as this program comes through the success of the engagements, quite frankly, that the audit process that you all bring to us that creates a very viable capital solution for our mutual building stocks to help improve the efficiencies of that. And if folks that know me on this call will know that I'm a person that believes in action and not folks that that wants to collect dust on someone's shelf. So hopefully that helps answer the question a bit. I'll pause, and you feel free to unmute yourself if you can, to see if I need to follow up with that question.
Yep. And then Laura has a second question, so I'll read that one off. And this one looks like something that either me or Ben can answer.
Okay.
Will the DCSEU website automatically send participating firms notification of when an audit is requested? How would our company get notified when an opportunity exists? To speak to the functionality of the website, your information, the name of your company, its location, and phone number, I believe, are on that card, so they can call you if they're so interested in like talking to you before they complete the form, before they complete the web form on the site. So that it wouldn't necessarily send you a notification. It is just like your information is available to them for them to take action upon. If they do come in through the website, they will be put in contact with an account manager, and it will be sussed out what participating auditor that they want to work with will be sussed out between them and the account manager at that point. I think that fully answers. Ben, did I miss anything on that front?
No, Kalen, I think you hit it. This is Ben Burdick from the marketing communications team at the DCSEU. The only thing I would say is I would imagine most of the folks on this call are aware, but if you're not, the list of non-BEPS compliant buildings is publicly available. So that's available on DOE's Beam portal. I'm sure that we and or Teresa Backus, who's on the call today from the Building Innovation Hub, could link you up, supply you with the links for where to find that information.
Thank you, Ben. And next question up is I see, apologies if the pronunciation is wrong. I see Ion here for what's the process for becoming a participating auditor? What if we are already approved to do ARA audits or Affordable Housing Retrofit Accelerator audits? And I think I remember seeing Ion pop in a little later. So, Rick, do you want to go back to?
Yeah, if you could go back to that slide, but just to answer your question, and the second part of the question, if you are an affordable housing retrofit accelerator provider currently, you meet the conditions of the participating auditor through the vetting that's already happened. And if you're an auditor in good standing, which I'm going to look to my legal and finance team here, which means that you have current up-to-date insurances on file with us, that's part of the enrollment process as well. So kudos if you're an existing ARA auditor. The next step is to reach out to me, and I will start the process of sending you the participation agreement form. You will see the participation agreement form come to your primary point of contact that we have listed in our system. Through the Affordable Housing Retrofit Accelerator program, you know, the folks that quite frankly signed your subcontract and or signed frequently your work orders. You will see a DocuSign agreement come through. You'll execute it. We'll execute it, and that's straightforward. For folks that are new, in order to become a participating audit requirement, the first thing is to reach out to me. And if someone could drop in my direct email, that I will make, since this is being launched early next week, I will make myself available to you directly to see what we can do quickly, to have a quick meeting to see what the requirements are, to start that process for you to provide information to us in order for me to send you that agreement to fully execute. The requirements are listed and thanks, Kayla, are listed here. Part of that requirement would certainly be showing proof of one of those certifications, in addition to a few other items we can discuss when you set up a quick time to chat with me. If you want to pause and think about it, please use the Calendly app and schedule a time with me. I'm kind of circumventing my own Calendly app to say, send me a direct email and I will reach out and work with you. In your email, if you could send a few alternative dates and times for like a 30-minute check-in that you're available, and I will pick a mutual time that we can work together on.
All right, thank you, Rick, and thank you, Ion, for your question. And I see Ben put the Calendly link in the chat there too. So Michelle M, scrolling down, is there any similar program to incentivize buildings to perform waste audits, or WASTE audits, with the results to improve reducing waste, recycling more, and participating in composting opportunities? This is greenhouse gas emissions related, as well as zero waste aim.
The greenhouse gas and zero waste portion of that, I would recommend that you grab a Calendly time so we can have a separate discussion. This particular program is geared towards the efficiency aspect to increase the Energy Star portfolio score, in essence, in addition to a deep energy retrofit. But I also want to have that. It's a great question. I like to explore it directly with you about the GHG potential, if that would help. So if you could, I wouldn't mind grabbing a separate time, and in that tag in the calendar, please put that this is a zero waste GHG discussion. I would really appreciate that, and I look forward to chatting with you.
All right. Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Michelle, for your question. I see Ion throws another one in the chat. And again, if I'm pronouncing your name, feel free to come off mute and correct me. Is the 120-day deadline to complete audits a hard deadline, or is there any flexibility there?
Since it's a reservation system, the 120 day is a hard deadline. I would say that given that ASHRAE Level II audit, once it's fully executed, typically takes 10 to 12 weeks in process. So from that perspective, we added a little bit more time on the back end of it. I say very little bit of time on that to have the customer facing session that's going to be part of this requirement, where an EC or an account manager from the DCSEU, yourselves, and your facility point of contacts, decision makers will be sitting down, and the customers agreeing to at least a 1 hour meeting with us and yourselves to go over the results of the ASHRAE audit, proposed measures that you all identify, and kind of lay out, the benefits of doing it, in addition to, next steps on any capital improvement plans that they're looking at over the next few years. So the 120 days is the reservation. If there's by chance something that comes up that's an extreme anomaly, feel free to work with the account manager assigned to that specific property, and we'll have a discussion. But I would say 99.99% of the time, it's going to be a hard deadline.
Thank you, Rick. And I see a hand raised. You can come off mute, because I believe your questions are up next. So feel free to come off mute.
Oh, I was just going to say that my name's pronounced Eon, like the period of time.
Got you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. And I see Teresa put the opendata.dc.gov, the building energy performance. I believe this is like one of those portals to be able to check. But thank you, Teresa. And Eon has two more questions. So, how much funding does the program have, or how many projects do you expect to take? So that I'll let those ones sit, and then I'll ask the second question. Right.
Since this is mid-year funding, I will say, and this is our first time doing it, it all depends on the building stock size. I mean, 15,000 is certainly the maximum that a non-BEPS compliant building can have. So in order to back into that number, for instance, you would have to assume that all of them would take, the 15K, which won't necessarily be the case. So I'm going to throw out a number that, hopefully, where I'm looking at, auditing is one thing, but I also want to reaffirm that these are actionable audits. So once again, I'm looking for actionable audits where folks are really, energized, enthused, committed to driving to the next step of implementation as well. We're probably looking at, between 40 and 60 potentially, which is probably a drop in the bucket, considering that there's a total of 800 to 900 buildings that are non-BEPS compliant. So this is our first venture into doing it. It is a first come, first serve in that sense. So that's where I want to kind of drive home that that's really what the game plan is. And of course, if it turns into being truly actionable results as our first year experiment, that drives our decision process for future years for a program like this. So it's really in our mutual hands to drive the success of how much we can expand this type of an offering to help mutually support your business needs, our business needs, and the customer's need for efficiency.
Thank you, Rick. And there's one more question. Is there a cap of any kind, like cap per owner or cap per auditor?
Since this is a participation agreement where the customer is enrolling, the cap is that the customer is limited to 2 sites. Oh no, don't worry about that, Ian. Questions are great and valued. There's always plenty of time for questions. The customer property owner is limited to 2 per fiscal year, which means between now and September 30th, which you'd have to back, 120 days from that to enroll for sure, for this fiscal year without prior approval from the DCSEU. So if the customer has other buildings outside of two site locations, and they want to engage with us, please bring that to our attention. It'll be on a case-by-case basis. I do anticipate, since this is first come, first serve, that in funding is probably the constraint as far as time goes. I would encourage them to actively engage with us to have that open discussion.
Perfect. Thank you, Rick. And then one last question from Eon. Okay. Yes, but is the process for submitting applications simply on the website? From a customer's from the property owner and manager's perspective, it is more of a process than just submitting on the website. To start the process, for sure, the information that we would need to get to an account manager to for them to follow up with the customer and begin the process, yes, but they're definitely, and the website outlines those steps. From the contractor or the participating auditor perspective, it is a similar version to what you've seen here, but it will basically say, reach out to Rick to talk to. And the website is not live. No, not yet. It'll be live on the 27th.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for taking a brief moment out of your day to hear about this exciting new offer. I do want to put that last plug in and encourage you all to consider reaching out, taking advantage of this this offer for your customers. Use it for part of your business development and in your book of work that you're doing currently in the district. It's a great opportunity. I also want to put the plug in that if the audit program is something of interest, in addition to all the other programs and services that the DCSU offers, feel free to reach out to me. As most of you know, I will make myself available to you at any and all times where I physically can do it. I will honor that. That's a person of my word. You can use the Calendly app once again, or you certainly can reach out to me direct, and I will reach out to you to answer any and all of your questions as best as I can.